Mind Muscle Hustle Podcast, brought to you by the Strength Emporium. Strength from the feet up. You want to get strong, guys? Look for your balance boards, rocker boards, plate loaders, and mini sleds. What's going on, guys?
What's happening?
What's up?
Man, just having a great week. And speaking of the Strength Emporium and talking about this equipment that we use and sell, Jonathan, why don't you go ahead and tell us about the history of that equipment and where that all came from?
The equipment, strengthemporium.com, is the website where I have all the equipment that I fabricate and sell. I had a gym for almost 15 years, and all of that was due to my mentor, Wes Wright, who invented almost all of that stuff and taught me how to use it. So I spent every day from about 10 a.m. to 2 a.m., literally, with Wes for several years. Literally just working out and going around, just hanging out. It was pretty awesome time in my life. And I think I probably got one of the most in-depth apprenticeships that any person has ever had, especially in the terms of fitness. Wes trained pro athletes for 35 years, from boxers to pro football players and basketball players and everything. And I kind of got to tag along and see some of the stuff he did, and definitely heard all of the stories. So, but he was an inventor of equipment and an inventor of exercises, and I was lucky enough to, I guess, annoy him into teaching me all of it.
Yeah, I never got to meet Wes, actually, but the stories are definitely legendary.
Yeah, he lived a very wild life. He actually joined the carnival at, I think, 12 years old. And his dad fell off of a ladder and broke like 200 bones in his body. And Wes said he was walking home, I believe, from school one day, and he saw his dad digging ditches on hand and knees with a shovel. And he said, well, I'm not going to be having that. And Wes joined the carnival to go make money for the family. And then he lived, from then on, just wild life.
How long did he live for?
He was 56 when he died, I think. He died in 2012.
56, man. Still too young.
He came at such an interesting time in our lives, too, man. It was perfect. And, I didn't get to spend the time with him that you did. But being your friend, getting to hang out with you, getting to learn from him, really been beneficial and helped push me down a lot of different paths in my life that I don't know, who knows what we'll be doing right now. He
had a gift for kind of seeing into your soul and then grabbing it and then shaking you till you acted right, And so he did that in his training too, because it's kind of funny when I first opened the gym, we'd be working out and I'd be training them and Wes would walk in the door and everyone knew things were about to get really real. Sometimes he would be laughing and having a good time, but then he would walk in and he'd think, you guys need a tune-up, and he'd start screaming and yelling and moving you around. And
that's why, one day I was at the gym when it was one of the earlier ones you had, and we were starving. You had a big box full of chicken strips, and you were like, tell me if you see Wes coming. I don't want him to make me work out.
He found out one time I had chocolate gravy for breakfast, and he made me run quarter-mile sprints on the sled for 3 hours. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
We called it the chocolate gravy sled run because he was wanting me to go till I, died.
Oh, yeah, yeah, which it's funny, though, even, some trainers are really effective with, yelling and getting up in you and, telling you how it is. And other trainers don't have, all the training I did with you, I don't think you ever yelled at me once.
No, probably not. That's not really my thing.
It's not your style, but you still have a very unique style. And I felt like I've learned a lot from you through Wes from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely, I honestly haven't looked at working out the same since, the first day I came to the gym, pushed the sled and threw up. I was like, I'm definitely coming back.
I used to throw up after every single time we touched the sled.
Yeah.
It took you 3 years to quit throwing up.
Remember that one time I was like, Jonathan, what's that flock of birds doing? This guy's flying erratically.
What flock of birds are you talking about?
They just follow you every time you run the sled.
Dude, I was seriously hallucinating, dude. I saw a flock of birds and they're flying very erratically and it looked Real as shit, man.
I think that was the day you did like sled runs and push-ups.
Yes.
You were having a great time. And then when you started hallucinating, I was like, oh, we need to go inside and get you some water, buddy.
Yeah.
Wes got me so hyped up on having my own pair of maces. You remember that? He's like, man, you're going to be so strong. Like, you know how he did. Like, he had me out of my mind thinking about how just like jacked and strong I was going to get that. But then he had to go and make them, and I wouldn't quit bugging him. I drove him nuts. And I think he like probably waited longer to bring them to me just to mess with me. It took him like 6 weeks to get them to me.
Man, so he did this thing where, one time I got locked in a room with these guys that are running like that the hard style kettlebell thing, the Pavel's HK. So one of the main guys with that came to town, and this local chiropractor, they locked me in this room. I was probably like 21 or 2. And they tried to they were trying to get Wes's information out of me because I'm an idiot, right?
Right.
Well, Wes had this incredible way just showing up. Like I don't know how
at the perfect time.
Yeah, I'm sure I told him I was going to be there because I was always communicating with him, but I don't remember telling him about this. But he just knocked on the door. They had it locked. He literally locked me in. And Wes knocks on the door, and I ran up and unlocked it, and I was like, thank God. And he comes in the door, and he starts turning on those circus tricks. And he starts handing people things and telling them stand up and come over here and sit down and move over here and do all this. And then he just walks out the door and leaves. And everyone in the room was in total shock. They couldn't deal with the situation at all. They were just staring at me, and they gave up on their entire mission. Because I said, so what are we talking about, guys? And they were like, and one of them tried to sort of talk, and then they just left, or they just let me go, let me leave, and they got no information out of me, and it was over. And he did stuff like that, and like with you, I mean, he's always messing with you. And I actually remember our buddy Dirk one time. We were working out really hard, and Dirk was having a bad day, and he comes in, he sits down on the chair, and he's like pouting. And Wes sat down next to him, and I was working out, and I was looking at him, watching him, watching Wes, because I knew what Wes was doing to him.
Yeah.
He sits down, and he whispers in his ear, and he's like, hey, what's going on, buddy? And Dirk's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to work that hard, and whatever. And Wes was like, yeah, buddy, you don't have to work that hard. You don't want to do what Jonathan's doing. He goes, here, see those rainbows over there? He goes, how about you start doing those today, and we'll just do only that every day and nothing else. The next thing you know, it's been like 3 or 4 weeks later, and Dirk now has been doing like 700 reps a day of these rainbows.
Wow.
And
heavy too, huh?
Yeah. He knew how to talk to you, so he would figure out like Dirk's having a hard time. He don't want to do this. He don't want to do it, go crazy. But I know how to make him do it slowly. I'll boil this frog slow. He just kind of knew what each person needed.
Boy, that really was the theme there for a while, was boiling people slow.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while, you got to boil them slow, man. And it really, sometimes it doesn't take very long once you get going to really get boiled.
Well, depends on how high I turn up the heat.
That's true.
I am a chef.
That's very true, man. That's very true.
And a slap rock enthusiast.
Absolutely. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I need to hear some slap rocks out.
Oh,
so
man.
Well, speaking of mentors, I think that's such an important thing to have in our lives. I was kind of thinking about that this week, kind of just as humans, like where are we going in the future, and how many times even, in my own life growing up, and I don't know if it's a Western culture thing or if it's probably worldwide, it seems to be, like everybody kind of thinks this way, that everything that came before us is just kind of like out of date and stupid, and bad ideas, and like we're just charging into the future like we know what's best for us.
Like changing the weather.
Yeah, like I don't think we always really know what we're doing. I think those mentors are pretty important.
Dude, I've never, and Jonathan, you're really lucky to have had Wes as your mentor, man.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. I've always thought I need a mentor, man. And I've never really had one. Never. I mean, Caleb, have you?
Jonathan's my Wilson.
I'm actually his godfather.
No, not really in the sense that Jonathan has, where I've had someone that's that steady for that long. There's been different people in my life that I've really looked up to, and but I haven't had the opportunity to forge that deep of a relationship with someone like that for such a long time. I think that is it was a big blessing.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. I still looking for a mentor. If we can find,
We'll make you ad on Craigslist, bro.
Craigslist ad in search of mentor.
Magic Zach.
Magic Zach.
Looking for some help with my tricks.
In search of mentor. Yeah, Magic Zach. And the only
teacher will come when the student is ready.
That's true. That's very true. And I'm not ready. Clearly.
There's a lot of like, I always watch like kung fu movies like all the time because everything else is garbage. But
correct.
The ones like the Shaolin monk and like I always like really I don't know what do you call it, identify with the Grand Master.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like on Kill Bill.
Of course you do.
Oh yeah, like on what's on Kung Fu Panda? What's the little rat guy? Master Oogway, the turtle.
Okay.
You're like,
right?
Okay.
That is
like you
a
identify with Splinter.
spirit animal. Yeah, absolutely.
Your spirit animal Splinter from the Teenage Mutant Ninja
That's the
Turtles.
only character in like all movies. They don't have like a Master Oogway. I don't want to watch the movie.
There is no try. Only
But
do.
so the student climbs the steps, right? And he goes and knocks on the door. And then the master opens the door and he says, "What do you want?" And he said, "Master, I want to train with you." And he says, "No," and slams the door. This is the first test. Right?
Oh,
and
yeah. Just like in Fight Club.
And everyone leaves.
Yeah.
Every time you walk away, right? But if you stay there in the rain and you knock on the door the next morning and he slams the door in your face again and eventually he will train you, but the student must be ready. He's been training you the whole time.
That's true.
He was molding you from the first time you knocked on the door.
That's true.
Ooh.
Got to find the door. Got to find the door and knock on it.
Which door are you going to knock on? I'm knocking on the door to the casting couch.
I'm not sure what that means, Jonathan.
Me neither. Sorry, Miss Carol.
You know, this is what happens when young people listen to too much slap rock.
I'm a fiend.
That slap rock has gone to his head.
Okay, so did y'all see where China is manipulating the weather?
No, I do know what HARP is though.
Well, yeah, we've all kind of known
Is
about
it HARP
that.
or DARPA?
HARP. That's the weather
HARP,
changing.
yeah,
Yeah, we've known about that stuff for a long time, but they're now admitting to it. And then they're saying that the U.S. has been dabbling in it, but China's definitely doing it. So that means we're all doing it, right?
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
But you know how they said they're doing it?
How?
Exactly how the conspiracy theories have been saying it since like the 60s.
Cloud seeding?
Silver iodine.
Silver iodine in the clouds.
Yep.
Man, yeah.
So if we mess with their weather and they mess with our weather,
Does it neutralize?
does it eventually just turn into like the ingredients from Taco Bell? Like you can eventually just mix them up and it's all the same thing.
Well, according to the news reports, this is all positive.
Well, do you think it's really the weather they're trying to control? You think by spraying those positive ions up in the sky that's I mean, it might be a byproduct of what they're doing, but do you think that's actually their intent? You think there's something else going on there?
Well, according to the stuff they're reporting on has actually happened is that there was a drought or something like that, and they were able to get it to rain.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's a lot of fuckery. It definitely seems like the weather has been a lot more mild, especially in Oklahoma.
I know in third grade we had a science lesson about acid rain, and I'm still afraid of that. I'm waiting. What happened to acid rain? Where did that go? We used to be terrified of that.
How about chocolate rain? What's that? So, but my thing is, should we be messing with the weather?
No.
That was going about, you were saying a while ago about our, our ancestors being retarded or whatever.
I'm pretty sure that's not what he said at all.
That's what he was alluding to. So basically, we should not be doing any of the things we're doing, including like the science has gone out of control. It's like full steam ahead. Everything they're doing is just way out of control.
Well, man, I mean, even weren't the scientists saying that, tobacco was healthy back in the 50s?
Well, that was marketing, that wasn't it?
They were paid. Same thing with like the sugar.
I mean, you can make science look however you want it.
But now
if
we're
you
doing
throw
gain of
enough money
function
in it.
research.
Yeah, gain of function, which I'm pretty sure that's a special term for bio war. Yeah.
Well, it's for, they're taking viruses and saying, well, let's see how bad we can make it so we can develop vaccines that will save us for something that shouldn't exist and may never exist, but we're going to play with it anyways.
Yeah, and it's doing nothing but putting strong divides on people.
Here's how I look at the whole situation. Around 2011, Jonathan and I were hanging out one night, and
I like where this is going.
we decided to make a pizza. Okay.
This was definitely gain of function research.
This pizza, we were both dieting, but we ended up putting full-blown macaroni and cheese on this pizza.
It was my cheat week.
And it was my cheat month.
Yeah.
But we decided that it was just a path we couldn't go down, and we've never made that pizza
That's
since.
true. Because if we would have ever done that again,
Yeah.
it would definitely been bad. So if that gain of function research had escaped, we would have been on 600-pound life tonight.
I would take up this whole 7-foot wide couch.
So this is one of those questions like, could we? Yes, we definitely could. But
Should
should
we?
we? Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. And you're waking up. Caleb, have you ever had any sleep apnea?
Yeah, man. I was like,
Really?
yeah, a few years ago, I was like 495 pounds.
And you were like
I
waking
was
up in the middle of the
dying.
night,
I
fucked up.
couldn't- I was awake all night long. I mean, as soon as I'd fall asleep, I'd wake up gasping for air.
Oh, wow.
And it was killing me.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go to the doctor because I didn't think I had sleep apnea. Because I'm
What
an
did you
idiot.
think you had?
I don't know.
Nightmares? I'm suffering from
Like, you
nightmares.
just changed the position as bed. I don't know. Man. There was a lot of things going on, but yeah, I went and I got a CPAP and the whole thing, man. It's
Oh,
life-changing.
do you still use it?
I still do because I'm terrified of
Yeah.
having another night of sleep like that ever again in my life. There's been times I've fallen asleep without it, but
Man, I have
standard.
suffered with sleep apnea at several different points in my life. And I thought that it was just because I was taking testosterone. I was like bigger than I should be.
Mm-hmm.
But even recently, like I woke up just a couple of nights ago, I woke up and I was like, that just that you can tell when you wake up and you're like, oh shit, I wasn't breathing. Right.
it can
there.
be the some of this could be wrong information, but from what I understand, it could be the shape of your palate, the shape of the back of your throat, if you have a deviated septum, which I have. There's a lot of different things, as well as could be body mass or.
I think I was watching Joe Rogan, and he wears a mouthpiece because he said your tongue falls to the back of your
That
throat.
too, yeah, you can get.
So it's not even. It's just you're just literally sucking your tongue into the top roof of your mouth, and then it chokes you.
That makes sense. That makes sense. It's terrifying though when you wake up feeling like you can't breathe. I was having dreams that I was drowning, and I was waking up, and it got to the point where I was actually scared to go to sleep.
I had a dream the other night that I was a muffler, and when I woke up, I was exhausted.
Does that one get a lot of good reviews? I like it.
Yeah, I got to retell it a lot.
I'm uncomfortable.
I got it. Oh shit.
Well, yeah, you can get a little mouthpiece thing. Would probably be a good way to start checking that out.
Yeah, I definitely will probably check that out because I'm trying to get sleep that is restful and not waking up exhausted. That's probably one of the worst things ever.
I've struggled with that for a long time.
Jonathan, have you ever had any apnea?
No, I haven't had sleep apnea. I just have I just don't go to sleep.
How many hours a night would you say you sleep?
Well, recently I've been doing pretty good, but when I opened my gym in Broken Arrow, I didn't sleep for like 6 months, and that set me into a really bad pattern for years. It took me to get out of that.
6 months, no sleep.
I slept on Saturdays.
You slept like all day Saturday.
Pretty much. I'd go to sleep on kind of like when I was done, probably like noon on Saturday. And then I would sleep until like 10 o'clock. Well, not 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock on Sunday, basically. In and out. I kind of wake up every once in a while, and then I'd go to work Sunday night at 10 and work overnights, and then I would run the gym all day. And that's how I opened my first gym.
Oh, because you were working a regular job.
Yep.
And training at the same time.
Yeah, I literally just opened the doors and was just trying to get people in there, so I had to work overnights and then be there all day to try to get people in the door.
Oh wow, that's pretty intense. How long? And you did that for 6 months straight?
6 months before I could afford to. Actually, in the middle of that time, I moved into the back of the gym, which kind of helped a lot because I didn't, that was now my rent.
Yeah.
And then of course I got a few more clients, and then I eventually was able to like afford rent and food and stuff, and not have to work that other job. I kind of just took a leap of faith because I still wasn't exactly like able to afford it, but I just
man, that's a good point. Leaps of faith, like you have to. There comes a point in time where you just have to do it. There's no way around it.
Yeah, I mean a lot of people say they started with nothing. But that usually means like I got $100,000 loan from my dad or something. But like this was when I signed the lease and paid the first and last month's rent, I had absolutely $0 in my bank account left over because I had just enough to pay it.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot of faith right there. That's building the parachute on the way down.
Yeah, and every time people try to hear your story, it's kind of they don't. I guess you gloss over, I lived in it and I didn't sleep and I worked and I did all this stuff. And like, people don't realize what it takes to really grow a business, unless you have funding and cash, cash flow. It's a lot of work, and people just aren't willing to do that.
It's very uncomfortable. And I feel like even with the bartending, I'm like going to have to just make that leap of faith at some point in time, man. I really don't know if I can, be the best version of myself while I'm dealing with, being in a bar. The
best thing that you can do when it comes to like those type of leaps of faith is put yourself between a rock and a hard place. But you better have your direction figured out first. Like the vision has to be there, and you better know what it takes, like the goal, and then you have to justify the means. So you kind of got to work backwards. So the goal is I wanted to open a gym. So what did it take to do that? And it was very simple for me. I got to get people in the door.
Yeah.
And back then Facebook was barely a thing. Like we didn't use Facebook to market. That wasn't a thing. So I decided I was going to go to the bar because I had friends that worked at the bar and hung out at the bar. And so I was going to go to the bar with my friends and drag people in the gym. And exactly what I did. I was there all the time.
And it worked.
And I don't like drinking. I try, and I just don't like it. And so my goal was not to be there to drink. I drank because that's what everyone else was doing. And then I was literally only there to drag people into the gym.
Yeah, I think we did have some nights at the bar. That's for sure. Plenty of them. But yeah, I don't really like drinking either, man. It's not on my list of things to do at all. And, the more that I go drag sleds down Riverside on a Monday afternoon or, roll with Caleb at Jits on Wednesday nights, like I don't really want anything to do with going to the bar.
Yeah, but if you're you kind of got to get focused on a goal. And so if you want to get out of whatever job it is you're working and you want to move on to a new job, first you got to set that goal, then justify the means backwards. So then you got to know what does it take to get from point A to point B and keep working your way back to the very start. Because a lot of times I see these like memes and stuff back to the warrior thing of the path, the path of a warrior.
Path of the warrior.
You don't get to walk a path to reach goals. You get to take steps.
Right. And
the path is that short little thing from one step to the next. It's literally just where you put your foot for a second before you take the next step. And so you got to be constantly moving forward, but you're literally trying to reach that next step. But when you justify the means, you work it back like one step would, and then keep stepping down and down and down. And you see, this is where the baseline is. So my baseline was, I got to move into the back of this gym because that makes rent cheaper. And then I got to go out because the only access I had to people was I didn't have money. So I couldn't, market on the radio, and that's really how people marketed back then.
Wow, that was a completely different era.
Yeah, and then I would just go to the bars and grab you. I mean, what else did I have?
Yeah.
And so that was the absolute most basic thing that I could do. And that's what I did. And so that's, if you can figure out whatever your goal is and then justify the means, figure out that intention and work backwards, you'll figure out the steps. But everybody they just decide like, oh, I'm going to lose weight. And then they just start running.
Yeah.
and then you just get hungry. So
you get more hungry.
Yeah. Or they just pick some random thing and they didn't think about it. You didn't justify the means. You didn't make a plan. You have no idea what it's gonna take to get lean or get strong or whatever it is your goal is. But people set goals all the time. New Year's is coming up soon, and everybody on their mom is gonna set a goal, and ain't none of them gonna do it because they're not gonna justify the means.
That's so true, man. With my own struggles, I guess I never really had a why that was powerful enough to justify the means,
Well, the why probably didn't matter. You probably had a why, but we all run out of steam.
Yeah, motivation is very fickle. Is that the word? It's the motivation leaves you, but that's where they say the discipline is supposed to rule supreme.
Or testicular fortitude.
Ooh, I like that. Case. Yeah, testicular fortitude.
Because I don't think I had a lot of discipline at the time. I just had absolute tenacity. And that was it.
Well, I don't believe I've ever seen you scared of anything. That's for sure.
No, fear is not a strong point of mine.
Which I really
Stupidity.
admire. I really admire that because I feel like I've probably lived my whole life being scared of completely stupid things that really I could easily face. And maybe in my future I need to start, tackling some of those things, even something as small as competing in a jiu-jitsu tournament. I definitely don't think I'm going to be going out and getting any bar fights just because I want to prove myself or anything, but definitely accomplishing some goals that eliminate the fear.
Yeah. That's probably like a good, practice for eliminating fear, but I think you have a lot of opportunities for it, and even when they're small little things that don't even seem important that you can still be kind of afraid of sometimes, you have to practice not being afraid of a lot of stuff. And there's a difference between stupidity and then not being afraid. But if you've thought it through and you think, oh, that's the right thing to do, even in these weird little small things, you still have to have I guess it's discipline, but the practice of just, I'm just going to do it anyways. It's like you woke up one day, or I saw someone actually do a TikTok the other day, and this guy said, took this video and he was dancing or something. And he goes, I was embarrassed and I didn't want to post it, so I posted it immediately.
Yeah.
And that's probably the mindset you got to get in. And it was kind of cool that he was admitting, I was insecure about this, but overcoming that fear makes it completely null and void.
And I feel like social media has kind of taken away from that. You never see any of people's moments of fear or any, it's just nothing but the highlight reel. It's nothing.
I've seen some videos of some children getting beat by their mothers. And for sure,
some world star
terrified.
Well, yeah, that's very true.
But, people will film their children having some emotional break. There's some weird stuff.
Yeah, but you don't see. That's not one of those. That's not one of your influencers that you get to see actually get through it and do anything. You're just seeing victims.
Yeah,
I hate that stuff's even online. It shouldn't be there, really.
Not at all.
But we don't. Everyone who wants to be an influencer just wants to act like everything's always good. But they just took 26 takes to make that one stupid picture or TikTok or whatever it is, and it took you 26 times to get it right. So basically, you suck more than you win, but you only show us that you win.
Yeah, once.
Yeah,
because if you're technically, what would that be if you're 1-26 in your record, you're not doing very well. You're not a winner.
Well, but you know what though? You are, because you kept going until you did it. I'm actually not mad at them. I'm mad at the people that expect that think oh, well, I can't do it because I'm not as good as that. For you to believe that, I'm mad at you. Right? Yeah. Because you just said, well, everybody else is good at it. I'm not good at it. No, you're just not doing it.
That's so true.
Yeah. And there's also someone else out there doing a bad job at what it is that
And still
you wanna
putting it out
do.
there.
Yeah, and still putting it out there. You know, and with my art, my painting, it was like that. Like there was a lot of making mistakes and screwing things up and taking jobs that I thought I could do and then realizing I had no idea what I was doing.
Oh wow.
You know, and I still run into that stuff, man. Still struggle with it, and that's a whole creative process too, because you know, a painting's not necessarily that much different than showing you the 26th take of an Instagram photo, because I'm not showing, well, I do show the process, and some people like to see that, but I'm not stopping the painting at 75%.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like I'm fixing all my little mistakes. I'm making a lot of decisions and going down different paths. And
have you ever
tracing my
had
steps
a project where you're like, no, sorry, man, this is just too much for me. I can't do it.
Absolutely. People have horrible ideas that they want me to
Really?
paint for not very much money all the time.
Really?
And especially people would ask me to draw a tattoo for them.
Oh,
That was a
I'm
horrible
wearing one.
idea. And is it Jonathan's the
I'm
only one
wearing
I
one
ever
right now.
actually did. But you know, I'd be out in these small towns doing physical therapy, and someone come up to me in a nursing home. I heard you're an artist. Hey, here's what I want. I want you to draw a giant angel, but actually one side's a demon and one side's an angel, and I'm going to get it on my back. My friend has a tattoo machine.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, no. They're like, well, why not? I'll give you $50. I'm like, you could pay me $1,000. I'm not letting your friend put anything that you're going to go around telling people that I drew, putting it on your back, especially.
When he told my really good friend Will no for a commission painting.
Oh yeah.
Will came in and asked him to, and basically described the pink mist to Caleb, and which is when you shoot someone, and then the pink mist that comes when their brain splatters, and described this in depth. And then Caleb was like, "Nope, I cannot do that, sir."
But I did make him some pretty awesome kettlebells.
I own those now.
Those are pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
Those are amazing.
Well, I painted them. I did not make the kettlebells. Yeah.
What was it you painted on them? It was
A Punisher skull
a Punisher. Yeah. Do you ever use those, Jonathan? Or are they
all
just
the time.
really?
Oh yeah,
What are they? 36s?
39s,
39.
like 16 kilograms or 18. I can't
What you been doing with them?
I mean, I look at them. No, I mean, I
look
do
at 'em
I
as
do the
they-
snatches and stuff for farmers carries or whatever. You know, everything. Kettlebells.
Really?
I mean, kettlebells are super. I do everything with them.
You doing overhead swing, full
Snatches and stuff.
full snatch? Yeah.
I mean, it's been a minute.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Hey,
I don't mess with the kettlebells that much.
Speaking of balance boards, I talked to my dad who listened to our podcast. He said he wants to talk to me about a balance board.
Dude,
I
get,
get
him
that
a
man
balance
a balance board. Yeah.
get him hooked up, man.
Yeah.
You know what? I was also thinking about the balance board. Have you ever thought about just cutting it to where it was just like 1 foot?
Why?
Just so you could do single foot exercise. I mean, you can do single foot exercises.
But
on
you
it.
I was going
already
to say you
can.
can just take your other foot off.
You can just. Yes, that's true. Yes, that's
You're
true.
already doing it.
Sorry.
What I did do one time is I disconnected them and put a. I mean, they were attached, but they spun, and then I put a spring
Yeah.
on them that kind of pulled them inside, and you had to twist the spring out, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then do your balance or taps or whatever.
I
still
like that
have
a
that.
lot. I thought it was really cool. But I guess now with all these people with the new take on squats, that really wasn't necessarily the cueing that we're looking for in the squat.
No, I mean that's not what it's for anyway. It's just strengthening the hips would be more like doing a booty band.
Oh yeah, but you said the tension was too much.
Yeah, it was a little. Well, actually, I think I chopped that thing up. Tried to make something else out of it.
Spare parts.
I will say, when I first started welding, back to what you were saying, Caleb, I actually thought that I really sucked at welding, and thank goodness I didn't care. And I just kept going, and then I basically used the grinder to make it look, halfway presentable. And people bought some stuff from me, and I actually had one friend. The stuff fell apart.
No way.
They used it quite a bit before it broke. Because I mean, if you weld anything, it'll pretty well stick together. But the thing
You
is,
weren't well.
no, I was not doing well. And the thing is, I just thought that I was really bad at it, and I just, I thought it was me, and I just kept on and on and on. I was like, if I keep practicing, I'll get it. I keep practicing, and I was in Texas, so I didn't have anyone around to, give me any advice. And one day, my wife's dad came down to visit, And I was showing him the machine, and he was like, yeah, this isn't right, and he's a welder. So he takes the machine all apart, and luckily he's just really good at everything. So he takes the whole thing apart, and he looks in. And so basically when you weld, you have to like have gas hooked up to it, and this gas sprays it, and that kind of lets the weld, it just makes it work way better. And so this hose inside my machine was twisted up completely and kinked to where it was getting absolutely no gas. So the entire time that I had been like, I thought I was doing everything right. I'd read every article and watched every YouTube video, thought I was, I was just me and I'm bad at it. It was the machine the whole time. And so my welds went up, got way
Through
better
the
really
roof.
fast. But in a weird way, thank goodness that I was struggled so much, because I did the best I could, and I kept trying harder and harder, and I kept doubling down and trying harder and harder. And I actually got decent at it because it was so hard. Because had I just opened that machine up and it worked, I would have just been like blasting metal, like with, no intention on trying to get better.
I think sometimes having self-limitations or governors on certain aspects of whether it's your training or a creative pursuit can really make a difference on the outcome. Because, especially like with art, I might, we'll do a thing called a gesture drawing sometime when we're drawing people. And so someone will pose for like 1 to 2 minutes. And I've always told any of my students, art students, look, it doesn't matter what your drawing looks like. I just want you to finish it in 1 minute, whatever it is.
Wow.
Because it needs to be done.
Yeah.
You don't have to like it. It doesn't matter. It's not important.
Yeah.
But you keep doing that, and eventually you start letting go of all these things in your head that you're worrying about, and you end up with much better proportions, and you end up with a good drawing or the start of one in a minute. And so it kind of changes your mindset about things. So I think sometimes those limitations can be good. There's probably some times in jiu-jitsu that you felt limited by, fatigue or injury or something, maybe had to think a little bit outside the box too, that kind of stuff.
Oh
It's
man,
like,
that happens all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take much of being in a rough spot with someone that's got a lot of top pressure on you to, your mind starts being like, oh no, I should quit. I need to get out of here. This ain't working. This isn't not working.
I think we need to get, I don't know if jersey's the right word, but maybe I need to get a Balanced Bodies patch on my gi, and then I'm gonna have it say Caleb Junebug Burgess.
The June bug?
Because I am
Caleb the
always,
June bug.
I'm always on side control or on my back and just getting smashed.
Hey, but dude, those are, you can, dude, I'm telling you, you need to work from the close guard, man, because you open up all the time, man, and I slice right through.
I wouldn't want to let me up either.
Yeah, no, dude, it's terrifying, bro. Are you kidding me? I will stop at nothing to keep you on your June bug back, dude.
Turtle.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's terrifying trying to wrestle you. It's ridiculous.
You got it. We were talking about mentors. We want mentors, but we're also middle-aged people.
Yeah,
I
It's
mean,
true.
I'm turning 39 next week, so
Doing the mentor.
Oh,
right
snap.
now, so we are in need of mentors, as our mentors probably were, but we are also in the position to offer some mentorship to other people.
That's true. I got some good things to offer, or I think I have some good ideals that I'd at least like to, help people with. But just like Jonathan said, when you're ready, the teacher will appear. And, there's a lot of, when I was young, I really didn't care too much about, learning anything from someone that didn't have anything tangible that I could see,
Well, most of the time people only want to they're not even worried about learning ever. It's just like, can you tell me how to make money?
Yeah.
Or can you just show me how I can get money with no work?
Yeah.
That's what people want, and that's why no one has a mentor, because that's not what anyone's going to offer you. Even people that have a lot of money aren't offering you that. You would have to be in the circle of it's kind of like if you're going to be a surgeon, you would go to surgeon school. Yeah, right. If you're gonna, you
surgeon
better.
school.
Well, I'm just.
I know, but it sounds
rocket
It's my
surgeon. I know it
first
does. I'm
semester
trying to
of
sound stupid on
surgeon
purpose.
school.
I'm no rock scientist, but I know what he's saying.
I'm no slap rock scientist.
You've got to be doing something, and be doing something that mentor is going to be interested in. But if you're sitting at home smoking weed, doing nothing, there ain't no mentor going to mentor you.
That's true.
And so you better start doing so that someone will eventually come along and then help
Yeah,
you.
that's very true.
Because those people that can do it, they're not looking for some slacker to like just give the world to. They're looking for
That's true.
someone who's just like, you might
Who's
be
putting in the
struggling,
work.
but you are absolutely just grinding at a barn burning pace. When someone sees you doing that, they're going to help you. I have
true.
been helped by countless numbers of people throughout my life, and because I would just do, even if I was doing it wrong.
That's true.
And that's like really the key, because I am probably not the brightest French fry in the box, and but I will do. I just don't care. I will do it, and I'll do it like whatever I think might be best right now. I'm just going to do it until someone eventually goes, "Holy cow, we got to stop him because he's going to blow it up," or I got to help him do it the
We
right
got to
way.
help this kid.
And that's kind of like the best possible thing you can do if you think you need a mentor. Like, forget looking for them first. That ain't how it works.
That's like us trying to make our own knives with a bench grinder.
Oh yeah.
And like, we probably needed parents is what we need.
Well, I literally didn't have that.
We were, I mean, this is not when we were like 14. We didn't even know each other. We were like 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah. I'm surprised we have all our fingers.
We need adult supervision.
You
But how else-
had a tabletop set up in an apartment, like basically glued to a wall to use to throw blades at
yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One time I opened the door and I had my shirt off and I was throwing knives at my knife wall. And these 3 guys were knocking on my door, and I know they were trying to rob me because I was at like 81st and Lewis, and it was rough over there at the time. And I opened the door, I had no shirt on. I'm holding like 6 knives. There's like 30 of them stuck in the wall. I was like, what? And they said, I think we got the wrong door.
house.
And they left.
Wrong house. Yeah, sorry. We want your neighbors.
So one time I was at home and this guy knocked on my door. I answered the door and I had no shirt on, and he goes, "Nice tattoo. Does that mean you're into nonviolence?" And I said, "It depends. What do you want?"
Did he stay?
He was trying to sell magazine subscriptions.
See, here's the deal. We are going to start training out at at a couple different spots here in town.
Yeah.
We're going to start doing some group classes out there and get some people to come hang out and run the sled with us. So this last Monday, Zach and Luke, a friend of mine, we went to the park and we drugged our sleds for a mile.
Yep.
And they got a little taste of that, and we're basically gonna do that again with these new and improved modified sleds, and we're gonna get some people to come do it with us.
They look super cool, and I'm pretty sure that we were getting a lot of looks when we were dragging the sled, but I'm sure if it had like the plate loaders and different pieces of equipment on it, that's gonna get a lot of attention
For sure. So we're gonna go to a couple different spots around town, and we're gonna use the new stuff and have people come outside and train. I'm really not digging the idea of training back in a gym again.
It almost seems like everyone's got a 10 gym membership or Planet Fitness or whatever Globo gym membership that they have, and everyone just kind of, most people have it and don't use it. I would say maybe.
Well, when you ran that sled with me on Monday, did it make you want to go back to the gym and do some pec deck?
Not at all.
Like that?
Not at all. I was so happy to be outside and just breathing fresh air and getting a workout in. And it was a tough workout. My legs were sore after that, trying to walk correctly, upright, and keep up with you. It was a lot.
Well, even when I was in Texas, I wouldn't train at the gym. I was doing sales at the gym, and every once in a while I'd go over there and do a couple things, but I really just did not work out at the gym. I'd go home and train outside. I haven't worked out inside of a gym since I shut mine down.
Really?
Nope. Not consistently. I've done a couple workouts in a gym, but they were I just did not have a good time.
I don't think you've ever had a good time
In a gym?
In the gym.
No, actually, no. When we first opened the gym, we had the brick and mortar, but then we just went outside to train.
Yeah,
That's true. We went out to the parking lot in the field.
And that's when we were all having a good time. And when we got over to our last location where I shut it down, the reason I was having such a bad time is I couldn't use the parking lot. There was nowhere to go outside, and I hated being locked in that place. I felt like a caged animal, a caged lion, for clarification.
Yes.
The gym I go to right now, basically use that one because there's a sled there. I don't have access to the sled, but now that you're back, I'm going to catch some of these workouts with you guys, and then when we start training, forward to being outside and doing that.
Well, I've noticed just being a trainer over the years, it's an inside job. Like you work in most of the time you work in the gym, and so I was always vitamin D deficient. There's no way I couldn't have been. Mm-hmm. So I would have like fatigue and weird stuff like that, and you're taking supplements to try to like counteract. But then I noticed, those years that we were just outside in the sled all the time, it was you have none of that. You feel better for no reason other than just being out in the sun.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why. I don't know if I want to put myself back in that position again.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, I know we've been out looking at locations and going and seeing them, but every time I go walk into a building again, I start getting this like feeling like, man, I don't want to be trapped here.
It just feels stressful, huh?
Yeah, like I'm going to put myself back in a cage. And I don't like that.
Yeah, no one wants to be in a cage. I think having a bridge, having a bridge, a steep incline, and regular park.
Well, I want to go to some different locations that are actually entertaining to be in, and we could change at any moment that I find something I like better. But when I had a gym, I always had these like weird fantasies of like, I'm going to build I'm going to put a bunch of boards up, like a stair step, or just like I want a mountain to climb. I want the place that I'm training to also be a training tool. Mm-hmm. So if you're in a building, this turns into just a box that I'm stuck in. It's not something I can use, and I can change our location and go walk up a side of a hill with a chain bar, and now it changes. Even the floor that I'm walking on now becomes a training tool.
Yeah.
Dion Sanders, when he used to train for the NFL, sorry, I thought the microphone was cutting out. He went out to the highway where they have these really steep inclines on the hills that they carve into those highways, and he would run all of his passing plays in every different direction. So north, south, east, west, and he would run every passing play he had. And so that's one of the reasons why his ankles were so strong, and he could cut any direction. And he was like the fastest man alive. Dion Sanders, probably the best football player of all time, the GOAT.
Was he ever injured?
Yeah, he got a hernia once. But he had so much muscle.
And he was a two-sport athlete.
Yeah.
Rare.
He had so much muscle that it wasn't poking through the muscle, so it was just through the fascia.
I don't even know how tall Dion was. What was he, like 6 foot?
I'm not sure.
Couldn't have been more than 220. So, I mean,
maybe 205 probably, but he's just because he did that on that hill and used even his the ground that he was walking on as a training tool, he's way ahead of everybody. And that's stuff like that is things that we can use if we don't trap ourselves in a room.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
We're all just looking at the dog.
Marley wants up on the couch, and she is very animate about it. She likes sitting by Caleb for some reason.
Probably smell like food.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's wrap this thing up. I guess.
All right.